So, I've been teaching English for about 9 years now, and the one question I get asked all the time is, how can I sound more natural in English? Well, that's a great question. The answer, however, depends on a variety of factors. Of course, you might have excellent pronunciation and a wide range of vocabulary as well as perfect grammar. But the one thing that usually sets native speakers apart from learners is what we say. Let me show you an example. Listen to this sentence. Hi, would you like to go shopping this afternoon? I need to purchase a few items. So, I'm guessing that most of you watching this can understand that sentence, right? However, this is a sentence that native speakers wouldn't really say. It just sounds so structured and stiff and almost completely unnatural, to be honest. So let's reword that sentence. Listen to this. Do you fancy going shopping later? I need to grab a few bits and bobs. That's better. Can you see from that example that the sentence isn't overly complex and the use of vocabulary is completely different? So in this lesson, I'm going to change some sentences from sounding like complete textbook English to everyday English by going through a conversation between two characters and showing you what you can say instead to sound more natural. So instead of saying, would you like, we often say, do you fancy? And we contract do you, and it sounds more like ja. So listen to these examples. Would you like to watch a film? This becomes, do you fancy watching a film? Do you fancy watching a film? Would you like to have a slice of cake? Do you fancy a slice of cake? Do you fancy a slice of cake? Or would you like to play tennis? Do you fancy playing tennis? Do you fancy playing tennis? And the list goes on, right? The word purchase, again, it's fine, but too formal for everyday speech. Buy, grab, get, these are more natural. And the same goes for few items. We could say a few bits and bobs. So a few bits and bobs just means random things, or just a few things. The word things isn't overly advanced, but it's certainly natural to say in casual conversation. So let's carry on with this shopping conversation and change the sentences from textbook English to natural everyday English. Yeah, sure, I really need some new clothes. I haven't purchased anything for a long time. A native speaker would most probably say something like this instead. Yeah, why not? I could do with some new clothes. I haven't bought anything in ages. So if you say, I could do with, it's informal and it indicates that you would like something or you need something. For example, I could do with a cup of tea right now. This just means I really want a cup of tea right now. Or I could do with some help. This means I need some help. So I could do with something is used to express a desire or a need for something, but it doesn't always imply urgency, okay? You don't need it right now, it can be in the future. So for a long time, we often say in ages. For example, I haven't seen you in ages. I haven't seen you in ages. Or I'm so tired, I haven't had a proper rest in ages. We often stress that, okay? Or we haven't gone to the cinema in ages. We haven't gone to the cinema in ages. Let's have a look at the next sentence. I was thinking of checking out that new store on the high street. I've heard they've got some good discounts at the moment. Again, this would sound more natural like this. I was thinking of popping by the new shop on the high street. I've heard they've got some good sales on right now. The phrase pop by, again, informal, and it means to visit someone or something, or a place, briefly, without making any formal arrangement. It suggests a short, quick, spontaneous visit. So, I'll pop by your house later to drop off the book. This just means I'll visit your house briefly to give you the book. The word discounts become sales, and at the moment becomes right now. In casual conversation, of course. Not always, but these are just some examples. Next part of the conversation, listen again. Really? It sounds like there'll be some amazing deals. The last time I went there, it was so crowded. Again, this can sound more natural like this. I bet it's full of bargains. Last time I went, I couldn't even move in there. So here we used bargains instead of deals. And instead of crowded, we can say couldn't move in there, or it was packed, or even jam-packed. It was crammed. It was swarming with people. And my favorite, it was like Piccadilly Circus in there. And if you've ever been to Piccadilly Circus, you know how busy it gets. Okay, moving on to the next one. I know it's always busy in there, but I'm going to try and keep it affordable this time. Let's change that to sound more natural. I know it's mental, but I'm not spending a fortune this time. So the word mental is often used instead of busy. Okay, for example, the supermarkets were mental over the holidays, meaning the supermarkets were really busy over the holiday period. Not spending a fortune means not going to spend a lot of money. A fortune refers to a large amount of money or valuable assets. So the use of not indicates that you are intentionally avoiding spending a large amount of money. It suggests that you're being more cautious and mindful with your spending. Okay, moving on to the next sentence. That sounds like a good idea. I've got £10 with me, so I'll see if I can find a nice t-shirt for that amount. And again, this can become fair enough. I've got a tenner on me. Might see if I can get a nice top for that. The phrase fair enough, again, an informal expression used to indicate that you agree or understand what someone has said. Often when someone has made a reasonable point or explanation. For example, I think we should leave early to avoid the traffic. Fair enough. That sounds like a good idea is also fine to use, but most people would omit the first part of that phrase and just simply say, good idea, instead of it sounds like a good idea. Good idea. A tenner is informal for £10. A fiver is informal for £5. A quid is £1, and £20 is sometimes called a score. For example, can you lend me a score? It means, can you lend me £20? And a t-shirt a lot of the time just becomes a simple top. A top is an informal term used to describe any type of upper body garment, okay? It can include a variety of styles such as shirts, blouses, t-shirts, vests, long sleeves, short sleeves, and so on. Okay, let's listen to the next sentence. £10? You must be joking. You'd have to be very lucky to find anything for that price. And let's hear what a native speaker might say instead. A tenner? You must be having a laugh. You'll be lucky to get anything for that. You must be joking is often replaced with you must be having a laugh or you can't be serious. Okay, they're more natural. Next. Oh, don't be like that. I'm sure I can find a good deal. I have a good eye for these things. And again, this can become leave it out. You know I can sniff out a bargain from a mile off. Leave it out. This can also mean don't exaggerate. And if you sniff out a bargain, this is an informal phrase that means to detect or discover something, you know, when you sniff like a dog. So often through careful investigation or by using your intuition. So it's commonly used when someone uncovers something that is hidden, like finding a really nice t-shirt for very little money. This is often not easy to find. But if you can do it from a mile off, this means that you can find something that's easy to detect, even from a distance. So here's another example. I could tell he was lying a mile off. This means it was very obvious that he was lying. And to end the conversation, listen one last time. Shall we go? This would often be said as, let's get going then. Or, let's get a move on. And sometimes like this, let's crack on with it. So, as you can see, textbooks and many English learners tend to use complex sentence structure and advanced vocabulary, which can make their speech sound quite stiff and unnatural. To sound more like a native speaker, you definitely need to simplify your sentences. Unless you're using English for business or interviews or formal gatherings, then it's okay to use formal English or textbook English. There's nothing wrong with formal English, of course. I sometimes use it too, but in everyday conversation, it's slightly out of place. And having said all of that, I really hope you've enjoyed today's lesson and found some of these expressions useful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.